Hello everyone, on this episode of Launch Medley, the Sega Genesis.
And so it was, late in the 20th century, that a pox fell upon the land, a plague of home videos that were limited in intelligence. There was brain drain, and terminal boredom swept the countryside. The maker looked down and was not pleased by what he saw, and said, "This is not good." And so it was, he brought forth Genesis.
Genesis was the name given to the Sega Mega Drive for the 1989 North American release. It's a smaller adaptation of the Sega System 16 arcade unit, with a 16-bit CPU, 8-bit sound processor, and the ability to display over 60 colors simultaneously. The Genesis offered arcade-quality gaming with the entertainment variety of a cartridge-based system. Last Battle is a side-scrolling beat-em-up both developed and published by Sega. Based on the Japanese manga series Hokuto no Ken, better known in North America as Fist of the North Star, this game had major character name and graphical changes from the original Japanese source game due to licensing rights. Also, the blood and gore the series was known for was removed from the North American release. The story of the game is about the hero, Arzak, being on a journey to save his people and the world from the villain Garok. Flat and bland stage graphics with a limited color palette helps to set up the doomed world theme. Character designs for the hero and story arc characters are nice and large. Weaker repeat enemies are just clones based on the stage's theme, with some weapon and armor variations. Sounds are okay for the actions they are linked to, but the music from some stages can be very repetitive. Arzak has a range of moves from punching, kicking, crouching, and jumping. He has a power-up ability that makes him punch and kick faster with more damage after the power bar is filled to the required marker level. Between stages you can pick a path to take to a new area. The gameplay is repetitive and bland, with one punch or kick taking out most enemies. The real challenge of the game comes from objects on some stages flying in from the left, right, top, and backgrounds to foregrounds of the screen that you have to deflect or avoid. Overwhelmingly average, Last Battle is the weakest Genesis launch game. Space Harrier 2 is a third-person shoot-'em-up both developed and published by Sega. It is a sequel to Sega's 1985 arcade game, Space Harrier. Your job is to save Fantasyland from enemy forces across multiple stages. Graphics are big and colorful, with unique enemies scaling in and out from left and right, trying their best to stop you. Bright skies will turn dark during boss fights. Stages will flash with colors while boxing you in, giving you a feeling of a smaller fighting area. Flying is complemented with a great running animation when near the ground. Digitized voices with great sound effects and high-energy music round the game out. Super Thunderblade is a third-person shoot-'em-up both developed and published by Sega. It was based on Sega's 1987 arcade game, Thunderblade. Your mission is to find and destroy the renegade troops and their base of operations. In both the behind chase and the above views, the graphics are visually suitable for the theme of the game, but choppy as objects scroll towards you. Sound and music are also average as well. The game controls well, but is very limited in depth. Stage patterns for enemies repeat too often with little variation. Some frustrating issues also pop up. While dodging gunfire, you can crash into objects like buildings and trees, but enemies clip through those objects. There is a landing position that auto-triggers near the ground, making you stop mid-flight, leading to a lost life. Mid-stage boss fights just turn into a break before going back to the grind. Down the line average, Super Thunderblade was probably, at best, just a rental. Thunder Force 2, developed by Technosoft and published for North America by Sega, is a shoot-'em-up with both overhead free roam and side-scrolling stages. You pilot the Thunder Force 2 in an effort to stop the mothership, Klielos, commanded by the Emperor of Lone, Refikul. Graphics are clear when moving, with enemies easily standing out from the background. Both the side-scrolling and overhead stages are stutter-free with no slowdowns from the hardware. Digitized voices call out new weapon pickups, with most sound effects being nice, but the quality is somewhat on the low 8-bit side. Stereo mixed music adds to the action. Controls are tight and quick to respond. Changing weapon types that you have picked up is fast and easy, even while dodging a storm of enemy bullets. Deaths in the game feel more like you timed it wrong than the game simply overwhelming you. Thunder Force 2 was another great reason to have owned a Genesis. Tommy Lasorda Baseball is a 1 or 2 player baseball game both developed and published by Sega. There are no licensed professional baseball teams in the game, with only fictional representations to choose from. After picking a team, you have the option to change the lineup. While pitching, you can position the pitcher on the mound and throw curve, sliders, and changeups, or try to pick off a player on the base. With batting, you can move the player around for a better hit or bunt position, or have a base runner try to steal a base. Graphically, the game looks great. Players are large and have nice frames of animation, and the ball is easy to see. Grass has shades of green patterns from lawn striping. Plates and markers are easy to see on both the dirt and the grass. Shadows under the ball when in the air just add to the overall experience, with digitized voices making the calls. The background music that can be turned off in the options menu is easy on the ears but repetitive. Tommy Lasorda Baseball is a very good baseball game for fans even without the big name licenses. Altered Beast is a 1 and 2 player side-scrolling beat-em-up game both developed and published by Sega. As the pack-in game for the Genesis, Altered Beast was a beast of burden for Sega, having to prove that arcade-to-console ports were just as good as the originals, and that 16-bit technology was the future of gaming. Genesis has lots of smaller details missing. Clouds are missing, and some color banding in the sky is evident. Vines on the stones that rise from the ground and the path under your feet have details missing. The wolves are smaller, and the power-up wolves are no longer strobing. However, the Genesis seems to have taller player characters and zombies. The arcade has static backgrounds, while the Genesis has parallax scrolling backgrounds. Sound effects include digitized voices, the hard thwack sound of punches and kicks landing on the target, and, although slightly different, the transformation howls. There are only 1 or 2 moments where the sound effects are distracting, like the ending of a boss fight. The music is very close, but slightly thinner sounding than the arcade version. Controls are simple and responsive. Like the arcade version, the gameplay is fun, but shallow. Altered Beast is an above-average home game demonstrating a great showing for arcade ports. If you like this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to this channel. Every click helps. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. And remember, if you roll a 20 or if you roll a 1, make the best of it. Alright, I'm going to have to edit remember. Remember.